Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to learn how to set up the AS Studio drivers so that you can play back stuff from Safari, QuickTime Player, iTunes, etc. through the speakers and the Soundcard, and you can also do some recording in Logic Pro using the Soundcard. So the first thing we need to do is go to the Finder and go to the Applications folder, scroll down to Utilities and open up the Audio MIDI setup. We'll drag one of those down to the dock if you don't already have one set up there. In this case we do, so I'll just get rid of that. And now we can just open up the software and you can see the default system inputs and outputs. We're just going to change that to the Profire 2626 multi-channel, which is just the brand name and model of the sound card that we use in the AS Studio. So we drag that down, we can see that all the channels are active there. And the next thing we're going to do is click on Configure Device, which will open up the driver utility for the actual device. So this opens up the 2626 driver software, and all we're going to do in here is mute the first 8 channels. This is just to stop you hearing back the sound that you're about to record twice, directly through the hardware and then once again back through the software. The playback actually comes back in on 17 and 18 within the driver software, so just make sure that those are also panned hard left and hard right. And once that's done, we can quit out of both the Profire driver and the audio MIDI setup as well. Now inside Logic you will need to set up your drivers as well, so if we go to Preferences, Audio, you can do that from that menu there or just from this button at the top left. We can see that the core audio is enabled in Preferences and we want to keep it that way, and we're just going to change the device from the built-in input, which is just the one built inside the Apple Mac, to the Profire 2626 multi-channel. And all these settings down here will show you what to do with those. If you don't have the Profire 2626 engaged, you'll see here that you can only actually access 2 different inputs. And if you could only ever access 2 inputs, you'll know that, that your drivers aren't set up properly, because that will only work on the internal one. So let's just go back to the preferences here. Go to audio. And now we're going to engage the Profire 2626 driver. We're going to turn on Universal Track Mode, 24-bit recording, software monitoring, and independent monitor level. And we'll just click Apply Changes. Keep the buffer size to about 256 for recording. And now when we go to the input selection, when we tell that particular audio track where to look for its recording signal, you'll notice that there are a lot more inputs to choose from. Now the first 8 are the only ones that are active, and those are the only ones that we'd use. So now we're just going to hit record on the channel strip, and if you haven't already saved your project, it will ask you to save and title the folder in the project, and for this case I'm just going to call it AS Drivers. And now it will actually let me record a signal into Logic, and you can hear there that when you've got the record enable armed, you can record through there. So because this is a stereo keyboard, I'm just going to switch it to a stereo channel by clicking the circle and then change it to input 1 and 2. I'm just going to bump up the level a little bit. You'll see that the signal is now routing through into Logic and is ready for recording. So we'll press record. And once you finish your recording, you can just hit stop. And this principle is exactly the same whether you're recording the keyboard, whether you're recording stereo, or whether you're recording single mono microphones next door in the live room.